In the 1980s, Prince Charles married Lady Diana. IBM introduced the personal computer. 50 countries boycotted the Moscow Olympic Games, and Ted Turner started a cable news channel called CNN.
I've heard of that. And the Suncoast only television station was WXLT Channel 40, a station that started in 1971 with just 13 employees, had grown by this time to nearly 60, including a few of us who are still here today. Let's take a look back.
From WXLT to WWSB to ABC7. Through the years. A look at the 1980s.
Well, this is where it all began. 5725 Lawton Drive, the former home of WXLT Channel 40. This is where local television began in this market, and it was the station's home for many years. I began my career here, many others have. Great friendships, great memories out of this building. I met my wife in this building. After we left about 10 years ago, it became a dance studio, and now, as you can see, it's for sale, waiting its new owner. The owner of WXLT was Robert Nelson, and in the mid-1980s, he was getting offers. And in 1986, he sold the station to Southern Broadcast Group.
Days were long, and I was weary at times. And someone came and knocked on the door and with a big pot of gold and said, "Here it is, you've worked, and we'd like to take over."
The station caught the attention of a group of investors, which included Miami television executive Manny Calvo.
We found out about WXLT at that time back in 1985. We were looking to buy some stations, and someone mentioned to me that there was an ABC affiliate in Sarasota, Florida, and I guess my first question back then was, where is Sarasota? It took us about a year, a little bit over a year, to finalize the purchase of the station, and we took over in March of '86.
From the News Center 40 News Desk, news, weather, sports, and special features. Here's Bob Keane and Mary Rogers.
Good evening. Here's the news. Southern Broadcast Associates joint venture completed its acquisition of WXLT Channel 40 today in New York City.
The new owner's first decision was to change the call letters to WWSB. I started working here in 1985, more than 26 years ago, as the weekend sports anchor. I wasn't the only one hired in 1985 who is still here today. Bob Harrigan came on board a few months after me, and he would be the station's first true meteorologist. Bob knew his weather, but admits he needed some work to improve his on-camera presentation skills.
I was called up to the president's office there, Robert Nelson, and I was a little bit nervous. And in fact, my first few weeks and few months, I kept my Kansas driver's license because I was worried. I really was. He asked me basically, he says, "Is there anything wrong down there? Are you doing something wrong? Because you seem a little nervous." I said, "Well, it's my first live television show I've ever done." He said, "Well, just relax a little bit. Be calm and give the weather forecast."
And in the late 1980s, another face that became very familiar to our longtime viewers joined the staff, Heidi Godman.
One of the changes I've really enjoyed watching is watching my co-workers mature. I have grown up on the air here, but so have they.
Heidi started as a news reporter, later became an anchor and an award-winning medical reporter. And Richard Stern made his debut as our financial analyst on a day the stock market took a historic tumble.
Mr. Stern, the tendency is to compare today to Black Tuesday in October of 1929. Is there a real comparison?
John, I don't believe so. I think 1929 was triggered mainly by margin calls.
Another big story was the closing of old Payne Park Baseball Stadium and the opening of the new Ed Smith Stadium. Opening day came with some mixed reviews.
I think the stadium is just beautiful.
Lines at concession stands were long and service was slow. Dozens would be greeted with $15 parking tickets.
One of the most important changes in the technology was the ability to do live remote broadcasts. WWSB got its first live truck. We could broadcast live breaking news and sporting events, like the night the Sarasota Sailors won the state baseball championship at Old Payne Park.
Very proud and very happy for these young men.
Sarasota is famous as a circus town, and one of the biggest events in the 1980s was the Downtown Circus Parade. Thousands of people lined the streets, and we covered it live with co-anchors John Hill, Terry Hendry, Christy Kruger, and Jim Jackson.
Listen, I've been bragging all morning that I was exactly right with the weather forecast.
Someone that's very important, the famous clown Lou Jacobs, the only clown ever to appear on a U.S. postage stamp.
If you live here and work here, you need to watch News 40.
My first day at work was June 1st, 1981. I was the 11th salesperson, and my desk was the top of a file cabinet.
Many of the Channel 40 advertising clients were car dealers, and we all remember those entertaining Tom Steimus commercials.
Here, 157, competition $300. Brand new custom conversion pickup. Tell them, Dream, tell them. 99.99. Custom conversion pickup right here. Stuyvesant Road, #1 in Florida.
Finally, here's a look at me doing the sports in the 1980s, learning about polo, reporting on the Gators' great running back Emmitt Smith from Florida Field, and Suncoast PGA star Paul Azinger. Nancy Lopez winning her 35th tournament there and qualifying for the Hall of Fame, and countless other moments which I'll never forget.
In Sarasota, Scott Dennis, News 40 Sports.
Lots of great memories. I wouldn't have it any other way because, you know, we made a lot of good television in this building. See how many of these names you might remember from the closing credits of a 1986 newscast. Oh boy, the memories.
Memories.
Oh my gosh. Bob, we look so young.
Still look young.
Well, thanks. Our 40th anniversary celebration continues next Thursday with a look back at the 1990s in Suncoast Television.
And we want to hear from you, so share your memories of our first 40 years at mysuncoast.com. Just click on Celebrating Our Anniversary link.